You see smoke beyond the ridge. It is not coming from your camp, someone else is close. You do not know how many people are there. You do not know what language they speak. You do not know whether they are carrying food, stone, news, or weapons. There is no border post, no shared map, no telephone to explain who you are. Only distance, posture, memory, and one dangerous question. Do you approach? So what happened when ancient humans met strangers? The honest answer is that there was no single response. A stranger could be a threat. A stranger could also be a trading partner, a future spouse, a guide, an ally, or the person who knew where water still remained. Ancient humans survived in small groups, but small groups were not always isolated worlds. The archaeological record suggests that people, materials, and ideas sometimes moved across distances much larger than one camp's daily territory. At Olorgesailie in southern Kenya, archaeologists found Middle Stone Age sites dating to roughly 300,000 years ago. The people there used obsidian, a volcanic glass useful for making sharp tools. Much of that obsidian came from sources about 25 to 50 kilometers away. That distance matters. The stone may have been carried directly by people who traveled far. It may have moved from group to group through exchange. Archaeology cannot tell us every handshake in the chain, but the material did move. The same sites also contained red pigment and more complex stone technology. Together, these finds suggest that people were expanding the way they related to landscapes and to one another. A distant group could possess something your group could not easily obtain. Dead or stone, or rare pigment, knowledge of an animal migration. A safe route through dry country. Contact created risk, but it also created opportunity. Imagine seeing another group near a water source. The first stage was probably observation. How many people? Are children present? Are the adults relaxed or ready to fight? Are weapons carried openly? Are they moving toward you or waiting? We cannot know the exact gestures used by people thousands of years ago. That humans are unusually skilled at reading faces, hands, movement, and attention. Before two groups shared words, they could still share signals. Stop, come closer, stay back, look at this, take this. Food or an object placed on the ground could communicate without requiring a common language. One person might approach while the rest stayed at a distance. A small meeting reduced the danger of two entire groups suddenly colliding. Trust would not appear instantly. It would be tested. Does the stranger take the object and leave? Do they offer something back? Do they return later? Do they guide you toward a resource or into an ambush? Repeated encounters could turn unfamiliar faces into known neighbors. And known neighbors could become part of a survival network. This matters because no group possesses all information. One community may know a river system, another may know where obsidian can be found. Another may understand a dangerous mountain pass. Another may have relatives across a wide region. Information can move farther than the person who first discovered it. That means an ancient tool could contain more than stone. It could contain a relationship. Meeting strangers also helped humans avoid the biological risks of extreme isolation. Small groups cannot remain genetically separate forever without consequences. People moved between communities, formed partnerships, and had children. Later prehistoric evidence makes this movement visible. In the Lech River valley of southern Germany, researchers studied burials dating from about 2500 to 1700 BC using strontium isotopes and ancient DNA. Strontium in tooth enamel reflects the geology of the place where a person grew up. The study found that most women were non-local, while only a few men and children showed the same pattern. This suggests that many women moved into communities from elsewhere, probably through marriage or partnership, while many men remained near their birthplace. This was a later farming society, not a universal model for all ancient humans. But it demonstrates an important principle: strangers could become family. The boundary between our group and their group was not permanent. Sometimes a person crossed it for life. Even the boundary between human populations was more open than people once imagined. At Bacho Kiro cave in Bulgaria, researchers recovered DNA from modern humans who lived roughly 45,000 years ago. All three of the earliest individuals studied had Neanderthal ancestors only a few generations back. One individual had a Neanderthal ancestor less than 6 generations earlier. 2 others had Neanderthal ancestors about 7 generations earlier. This does not tell us how those meetings happened. It does not tell us whether every encounter was peaceful or equal. But it proves that some encounters between modern humans and Neanderthals led to children. The stranger could belong not only to another camp, but to another human population. That makes the ancient world far more connected than a simple picture of separate species avoiding one another. But connection did not remove danger. Resources could be defended. Territory could be contested. Old injuries, revenge, competition, or fear could turn a meeting violent. At Nataruk, west of Lake Turkana in Kenya, archaeologists found the remains of early Holocene hunter-gatherers near an ancient lagoon. 10 of 12 articulated skeletons showed evidence of violent death. Some had projectile injuries, others showed blunt force trauma. The researchers interpreted the site as evidence of intergroup violence. That interpretation has been debated, as archaeological evidence of ancient conflict often is. But the site still warns against turning every meeting into a peaceful exchange story. Strangers could bring stone and information, they could also bring spears. So how did ancient humans manage the uncertainty? Probably by controlling the encounter, meet in open ground rather than dense cover. Keep most people at a distance, protect children. Watch the other group's hands. A camp known for fair exchange might receive visitors again. A group known for ambush might be avoided. Stories allowed reputations to travel even when the people did not. Do not enter that valley, the people near that river share meat. The group beyond the ridge has excellent stone. Their elder knows the winter route, their hunters attacked us last season. Memory transforms strangers into categories of expectation, but categories could also be wrong. A group might fear people it had never met. A peaceful approach could be mistaken for an attack, a gift could be misunderstood. Different languages and customs increase the chance of error. This may be one reason repeated contact was so valuable. Familiarity reduces uncertainty. A face seen 5 times is no longer completely unknown. A route used by both groups becomes a meeting place. An exchange repeated across seasons becomes a relationship. And relationships create options during crisis. When food failed, you might visit people who had shared before. When conflict threatened, relatives in another group might negotiate. When your population became too small, partnerships with outsiders could keep it viable. When a new tool appeared, contact could spread the idea faster than one group invent it again. This is the counterintuitive answer. Ancient humans did not survive strangers simply by keeping them away. Too much isolation could be dangerous. The safest long-term strategy was often selective connection. Caution first, observation second. Then, when the signs were good, exchange. A stranger was a risk that had to be managed. But a stranger was also a doorway to resources, genes, information, and alliances that one camp could never create alone. Today, we meet unfamiliar people through cities, travel, trade, migration, and screens. We use laws, institutions, translation, and shared customs to reduce uncertainty. Ancient humans had fewer formal systems, but the basic problem was the same. How do you decide whether someone unknown will harm you, help you, or become part of your life? You see smoke beyond the ridge again. This time, you do not walk straight toward it. You watch, you count the figures. Keep the children behind you. Then one person from the other group places a dark piece of volcanic glass on the ground and steps back. It is sharper than any stone near your camp. You place food beside it. For a moment, no one moves. Then both sides understand enough. The strangers are still dangerous. But they may also be the reason your group survives the next hard season.